Welcome to African in New York. I'm their gracious Pella. Today we have Ntumba Mukendi.
Yeah.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. Ntumba is the CEO and founder of Ntumba Apparel.
That's right.
And, she operates the company from New York City.
Yes, we're based in New York.
And she comes originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Correct.
And from Kinshasa, to be exact. So I just want you to take a few minutes to introduce yourself and your background before we can start asking you questions.
Okay. I am Tumba Mukendi, as you stated. So I was born in Kinshasa, but traditionally I'm supposed to say where my parents were born. That's where I'm originally from, which is Kasai.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started this organization called Tumba Apparel, which is apparel for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
I started it because of what was going on in the East Congo. There's a gender-based conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And rape is being used as a weapon of war. So, and it's a sensitive situation because in Congo, and as in a lot of African countries, women are already considered as a second-class citizen. Mm-hmm. And to have that conflict as well, it was kind of, it was disempowering and a sensitive thing for women. So I decided to do something about it.
I mean, this is very positive because you are coming from Congo, and we understand that, Congo came a long way from Mobutu,
yes,
to civil wars, and now to democracy. And, as you said, the role of women somehow, because of all these problems, is being jeopardized in a way. And, you have had, rape cases and things, whatever, like that. And one of the things that your organization promotes is gender equality.
Yes.
So, I mean, can you tell me more about the steps and the stages that you are using to enhance the goal of your organization, which is gender equality?
Okay, so we have annual forums with women, powerful women, successful, powerful women, and as an example of a positive image as opposed to what we see in the media. And secondly, we have a mental health workshop. It's a self-care, self-awareness workshop for women.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of to gauge where you are as far as self-awareness, which is something that's not really popular in the Congo. Because, we're, like, if there's something we feel is wrong, emotionally, we turn to praying, which is great, right?
Congo has gone through the civil wars, and, the role of men has been in the war, actually, fighting the wars and, try to create a new Congo in that way. And I understand most of women, the problem there is that families break up. Because when somebody goes to wars and, they are not at home, husbands are not at home, some husbands don't come even home because they die. I understand that one of the roles of your organization is, to restore peace and harmony in families, to promote, families in such a way that, there is no this breaking up of families. So how do you help them?
Okay, so we're also trying to bring that workshop back home, and this is still in the works to see who's working on the ground with women, so we could be able to bring this workshop back home. And also we have a blog that talks about the dynamic of men and women that are being affected in the conflict and what it's doing to the family and how men are thinking about it. Because come to find out, yes, we understand that they outcast, the women are outcasted and once they're raped in the war and so the husbands sometimes leave, but then there's also the part where the men are ashamed because they couldn't protect the women, their wives, you know, and that's why they leave. And I'm not judging as far as what's right or what's wrong. I'm just saying the state of mind of each person. And so we have that blog to show the dynamics of relationships. And we also talk about relationships here in the States with the diaspora and stuff.
So, and the workshops that you are trying to create, you know, to help families stay together, what kind of workshops are they? And if they have a content, what kind of content is going to be in those workshops to help, you know, families stay together?
The content is, well, I think the hardest thing for people in general, if they didn't have that training, is to be to own how they're feeling about things, because I've done the workshop with Congolese here in the United States, and the one question they couldn't answer is, like I put it simply, I gave them example: happy, sad, glad, or mad, and they couldn't pick out those 4 things. It's like they kept going around it. Just a matter of owning what you're feeling, and once you know what you're feeling, once you own it, then you can move forward as far as how to resolve what's the dynamic in the relationship. Yeah, and it could be, and not just between men and women, it could be like mother and children, because the Congolese youth started to feel like, well, where are our parents? Why, you know, where are our ancestors and our parents? Why is this happening? Why didn't they stop this conflict from happening? And this is one of the things I brought up also in the workshop. Like, what are we feeling? What are the youth feeling about what's going on in the country right now in the east part? And that was the first time I've ever seen a dynamic where we were actually talking about emotions, and it's not common in our country. It's usually, okay, just spiritual talk or politics, you know.
Yeah, because, you know, this is the time for the nation to rebuild after all this, you know, period that it underwent some crises, you know, and, you know, I understand that. And, you know, one role of your organization in promoting this is also through fashion.
Yes, it's a fashion-based organization. And what we do when we partner up with other organizations that are raising money towards a cause for gender empowerment, like George Maleka Foundation. It's now called Maleka. They were having a fundraiser to build new classrooms for girls, for the all-girls school in the Congo, and they needed designers and designs, and which is easy for me because I'm also a designer, but we use those clothes to raise the fund, and then they have through the fashion show, they were able to open up new classrooms.
So, I mean, how do you do that? Because you say that you are a designer and then you design in order to raise some awareness and funds.
Right.
So, I mean, do you have like fashion shows in New York City? Or,
Yes.
So, I mean, can you talk a little bit more about that? And when do you do that? And, you know, how people are going to know about your events so that they will come and contribute?
Okay, so usually our events are posted on tumba.org. So that's www.tumba.org. And whenever we have events, it's posted there. And it's also posted on tumbadesign.com. If it's a fashion show, it will be posted on both. If it's a fashion show, but if it's, say, a forum, it will be mostly on tumba.org.
Yeah, you know, one thing about Congo, like if you ask any African, they will tell you like it's Congolese music. You know, Mayenu, whatever the dance is. I mean, it's like nobody will stop listening to Congolese music because it's, you know, people love it. You know, they have big names, you know, Pepe Kale, you know, Bozi Boziana, you know, Kanda Bongo Man, you know, Table, Billy Bell, you know, many. I mean, if I start naming them now, it will take me like an hour to name, you know, the greatest musicians from Congo. So do you somehow promote the image of Congo through music or through, you know, like activities that you bring people or musicians from Congo and, you know, perform in New York City?
That's when we partnered with the George Maleka Foundation. When we did the fashion show, there was Congolese musician who performed after the fashion show, and last year in the male panel, we also have an all male panel that are really doing things in the community to help women, and we had Diblo, a Congolese musician.
Diplo Dibala?
Yeah,
Yes,
he was.
yeah, you know?
Diblo Dibala. He was on the panel. I mean, he did say he's not really a panelist, but he's an advocate for women.
For those who don't know Diblo is an African. He's a guitarist.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best guitarists, and I think the U.S. equivalent will be Santana.
Yes, absolutely.
So I mean, I just wanted to have that footnote. So I mean, so how did he, you know, participate, and you know, just tell us more.
Okay, so I just spoke to actually Friends of the Congo. He wanted to do something with Friends of the Congo because he really supports and advocates for women. So he really wanted to participate. And Friends of the Congo at that time were not doing anything. They knew that I was doing something. And they also knew that I have a male panel. So they just kind of connected us together. And I just spoke to his representative, and he was like, yeah, I'm all for, you know, talking about women in the Congo and what needs to change. And so he came. He showed up, you know.
Great. Yeah, so what's the situation in Congo when you talk about women and politics? I mean, is the participation of women in politics high, or is just like women shy away from politics in the Congo?
I would say there isn't enough women in politics in the Congo, and I think because they are not allowed to be in those positions, and I think it's not said bluntly, but women usually when they try to get into politics, they get but so far. And those who are, it's like once in a while, or they're not really in high positions in politics.
Yeah, and this is actually the goal of your organization and so many other organizations that I know about, to create that equality and, you know, to raise awareness about all these issues. So you are operating from New York City, where, you know, the American situation is different. Like a lot of women come forward and they engage in politics. So my question is, do you get any support from Americans, you know, about the change that you're trying to create, you know, involving women in politics in the Congo? Do you get support from Americans who support you, you know, who are really like eager to see that there is this change in Congo in the sense that women participate more in politics?
Okay, I think in general, those who volunteer for the organization, in general, they want to see women advance. And some particularly with the Congo, there's a few that are particularly interested in the Congo, and they've been to the Congo. So there's not too much that I need to explain. And then there are those who don't really know too much about the Congo, but they want to see women in general advance. And so it's a kind of a little bit of a split, and depending on their interest.
Okay, okay. So that's okay. And then one of the things that I'm trying to understand is that do you only organize these events, women empowerment events in New York City, or do you go across the United States as well?
Oh, okay. So the workshop that I've done, it's actually a self-awareness through fashion art. So I did it in Atlanta, but it was with the Congolese community because I wanted to make sure, I wanted to see how it works with the Congolese community because it's something I do want to take back home.
Yeah. So what did you exactly do in Atlanta if somebody wants to know more?
Oh, in Atlanta, so we did the workshop. It's really made for women, but we involved the men. It was okay. It can be unisex. So we did the self-awareness workshop through fashion art, and what it does, it part of the exercise is to design, say, a pair of pants according to what you're feeling, right? And then you write down the exact emotion that you're feeling. And this is to gauge if you could identify your emotions. And a lot of times, I'm just speaking for Congolese people because we're not really raised to identify our emotions. We're just raised to pray or, talk politics. And I felt that it was needed because there was so many mixed emotions about what was going on in the east part of the Congo. We have women saying, oh, our men are not protecting us. I'm losing respect for our men. And then we had the youth saying, well, what happened, where's our ancestors, our grandfathers, our forefathers? Why didn't they do anything to stop this war from beginning, and why aren't they advocating? And so there was different feelings in the Congolese community, as you can imagine, in a period of war and conflict, on the east side. So what I did with the workshop, I try to see if people were even able to identify what they were feeling. So I gave them like 4 basic feelings: happy, sad, glad, mad, angry, embarrassed. Like 5 basic feelings, and I asked them to design this as blank pair of pants. I made it pants because we had men also. And gave them colors, and I said, make sure the colors also express what you're feeling on the inside. And
what did you find out?
And I found out that, and I asked them, well, so what do the colors express? Happy, sad, glad, and they could not even say it. They couldn't identify what they were feeling. And only one person could, but she didn't want to influence everybody else. But she's been trained to identify her emotions. And so I asked the men especially, and they were like, oh, they would say words that did not describe an emotion. They would go around it,
Yeah.
So it's
I'm trying to understand here, this lack of emotional connection. Could it be the cause of all the problems that the Congo is having at the moment? Because, it's just like the war has been ongoing for years, and then you're talking about before that the rule of Mobutu, which has, it was a dictatorship, and, a lot of people suffered from it. And, some countries now are trying to come in and try to, create order and, try to bring Congo back. So do you think this lack of emotional connection could be part and parcel of the problems that the Congo is having
I think
right now?
definitely, I think that's part of it. because it's such a harsh reality. I mean, for me, it was a harsh reality to find out, oh, this is what's going on the East Side. I almost wanted to be like, oh, that's just the East Side, you know? Because it was so hard to connect and to connect with my own emotions about it. And I think that's a huge part of it. And I think also there's a part of it where we're not taught emotional intelligence. We're just taught academic intelligence, politic intelligence, and we're not taught emotional intelligence.
And what do you mean by emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence is knowing how to deal with our emotions, find solution, and move on. We're just taught to find solution and move on, and then, but what happens is if the emotion stays, that solution is not gonna, it's not gonna be stable. You know, because you get diseases, different types of diseases. You get
psychological.
Yeah, psychological
diseases.
Yeah. Yes.
So I mean, in that sense, because I'm trying to understand that you've been mentioning more about the eastern side.
Yes.
Than the western side.
Yes.
What do you think makes the western side more stable than the eastern side?
Oh, but we can't be stable without each other, you know. So the economic situation in the western side is suffering as well because of this conflict. But I think that because we haven't been touched by the conflict directly, it looks stable. We look stable, but there's no way you could be physically stable without being united with the East Side. It's like we're split right now, you know, because of what's going on, you know. And, you know, hopefully the mentality is changing, but when it was first happening, you know, you would hear things like, oh, maybe it's what the women are wearing on the East Side. And it's like, so, you know, that's inhumane. But I think it's that emotional intelligence, again, that you're disconnecting because it's a harsh reality, you know.
So women of diaspora, you know, you're part of the women in the diaspora. And I'm very sure that you may know some other women who are in your position, who are entrepreneurs, and who have excelled well in the United States as well as in New York. And I know that the Ntumba apparel has had some, you know, challenges as well, and has had some achievements as well. So can you tell us the achievements of your organizations as well as the challenges that your organization is facing at the moment?
Okay. Some of the challenges, of course, is the manpower, you know, getting enough volunteers. You know, people are busy in New York, so it's like enough consistent volunteers. And also, we're still really want to work on having a base in the Congo. I think that's one of our main challenges, to keep connected with the needs. And our achievements is, oh my gosh, how many people have been coming to our events, and how many people know the name Tumba Apparel and what we're about, and how many people have participated as guests. We had Bob Marley's granddaughter, Denisha Prendergrass, who was one of our panelists. We had Nina Akbar from American Top Model. Awesome woman, talked about our ID, you know, as far as our physical appearance, to accept ourselves before anybody else could accept anybody, you know, before anybody else could accept us. And we had Ellen Forsart from the Nubians, Grammy Award nominee. So we have a lot of great people that are involved in our organization, you know, one year or another. And I think that's like one of the greatest achievements. But I think the best achievements is how many people we've reached. And I would say from our forums, our workshops, you know, how it's affecting people, which is the goal. And I've had people come up to me from after the self-awareness workshop and say, "Oh my gosh, this is what we need. This is what we need in Africa, in Congo, and Africa in general. We really need emotional intelligence. You know, this is perfect, and oh, this is great for women. You know, because we're so taught to suppress our emotions. You know, and just it's more attractive to be quiet, right? For women, right? That's what we're taught, and also in the changing the image forum, we've had a man say, "Oh, I didn't know this is what women were going through," you know, and he wanted to spread the word out to the men, to his other male friends, you know, and then we had a mother who came with her son last year, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, my son needs to hear this. Look at all these women, you know, the music he listens to is contradictory to what these women on the panel are, you know." So it's really the people it's actually reaching. That's like the greatest achievement ever. So it's creating this sense of unity that I really wanted to create between men and women, and to have and as a result have a strong family. When you have a strong family, you have a strong community.
Yeah, so I mean, there are a number of issues here, and you know, some success stories as well. Like you know, the influence is there, and you know, it has affected some people somehow, and people now are starting to debate about the situation and how they can, you know, correct whatever is wrong or whatever went wrong, you know, at that time in the past and perhaps at the moment. And you know, I understand all that, right? So this is good that you've been doing this from New York City, and you know, our program is African in New York, where we welcome people of African origin who are doing something in New York in order to expose their works, you know, their achievements, you know, the positivity they bring in the society. And this is one thing that you're trying to do, is you're trying to promote some equality in families and in society as well. And this is, as you said, you know, like you provide education, and you go around with your workshops in order to, you know, tell them that whatever problems that we have here, there is a cause behind the problem. And you know, you've been talking about emotional intelligence, and you've been saying that in some parts of Africa and some parts of the world, especially when it comes to women, they are taught to suppress their emotions, you know, from grassroots, I mean, from the families. And what you are advocating is against this. I mean, that let people open up, let their emotions be known to the world. This is what actually you're doing. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's been working, right?
Yes, it's been working. So it all goes under basically mental health.
Yes.
Yeah, so all of it goes to mental health, because once you are aware of your emotions and your emotions are not suppressed, you're healthier, you know, mentally.
Are you planning to invite some of the professionals in the area to come and join you and help you, you know, continue with your goal for your organization, which is to see that, you know, the emotional intelligence is taught to different families where, you know, they have been living under, you know, stresses of war, stresses of crisis.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's part of the plan when I say we're trying to take it to the Congo, it's really to reach those women, and it has to be with professional mental health professionals as well involved. Because my workshop is basically just to gauge, you know, where you are emotionally. But when you come down to the one-on-one therapy sessions, that's you know, professional. That has to be at a professional level. And that's what I was planning to take to the Congo. Because here we have professionals here. And it's popular here. It's pretty a norm in society, but in the Congo it's very scarce. I think they have. I just went to an event where there was a journalist who was working in the area of the conflict, and she said there was only one mental health person that was helping the Congolese women in the conflict. She said there was only one. You know, so you see how scarce it is, right? So part of the plan is to bring more of that element, there. But of course, we have to go there and assess the needs and gauge what we can do.
Thank you very much for coming, Ntumba Mukendi, the CEO and founder of Ntumba Apparel. Thank you for coming to this interview. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm Deogracius Joseph Mhela saying bye-bye from African in New York today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.